It's an animal or a plant who chooses a human, and their coming in life is always for the purpose.
So we have Abhigna Vaidya out here with us. Welcome on Raw with Sneha. You communicate with animals, land, womb and gardens. यहाँ पे हम communication सीख रहे हैं लोगों से कैसे communicate करें और आप animals से बात कर रहे हो.
When somebody is not keeping a good mood at home, the plants will die. Pets will behave in an unusual way when there are a lot of commotions and chaos at the home. These are always two-way communication which takes place between you and your pet. If you pay a finer attention to it, you will get to know more about it.
The first conversation that we had when you spoke to my cat, because even the doctors couldn't tell us much at that point.
For that, I would thank your cat more.
Pets who have passed away. In that case, how can this help?
It helps you in getting the closure. Many of times we feel that I am the reason for the death of my animal. Telepathy is inside to speak to land as well. This person based out of Mumbai, they had a property in Dubai. The Dubai property, the moment they had it, they started feeling a lot of debacles in their life. But when I spoke to the land, you may not get that information through any Vastu solution, but only land will tell what is to be done. Sometimes land will just come and say that you have to bear with this because
So any construction company maybe, if they have issues with litigation lands or any person who's finding it difficult to sell their land, communication with land will actually help them.
every village would have the DT. For any activity that we want to do, we will take a permission. Our people understand what this Gram Devata or a San Devata wants.
Hey you, welcome on Raw with Sneha. I am your host Sneha Desai, and if you are somebody who's ready to evolve, grow and transform into their highest self, you're at the right place. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. With every episode on Raw, the idea is to explore a new dimension of life. So recently, my cat was unwell, and that's when I happened to talk to Abhigna Vaidya, who's an animal communicator. और तब मुझे पता चला about this entire new dimension where people can communicate with animals, land, gardens and womb. Quite interesting. So literally अगर आपके पास कोई पेट है, आप ये जान सकते हो कि वो क्या सोचते हैं, उन्हें क्या पसंद है, क्या पसंद नहीं है. So this episode is definitely for pet owners who want to get closer to their pet or who want to talk to pets who have passed away. You could also be a landowner, a construction company who wants to talk to their land and wants to know if they are facing some problems when it comes to land issues like litigation, etc. So let's explore this new world of intuition with Abhigna Vaidya. Let's dive deep. Let's roar. So we have Abhigna Vaidya out here with us today. Welcome, Abhigna.
Hi, thank you so much for calling me, Sneha.
Yes, welcome on Raw with Sneha. I'm so excited to do this with you.
So likewise, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for calling once again.
I happened to read your bio. That's how I, contacted you. And it was about you communicate with animals, land, womb and gardens. So very interesting. यहाँ पे हम communication सीख रहे हैं आदमी लोगों से कैसे communicate करे और आप animals से बात कर रहे हो.
For us as a human, the communication is just about using a language or a verbiage or just one sense out of five, which is the sound as a mode of communication. But knowingly, and even we are communicating with a lot of creatures. When I say creatures, including humans, anything around us, including the entire environment we stay in.
Yeah.
So communication, what we feel is that just what we speak and what we hear. But as in Hindi, we say aankhon se baat karna. And there are a couple of ways through which we do exchange continuous emotions, thoughts, messages with the environment. So the communication is very intrinsic to us. And somehow I feel we always had this as a part of our ecosystem because our education became so left-brained and so knowledge-oriented or so logic-oriented rather, that the whole essence of communication that was existing, ever-pervading without having any physical boundaries started going missing. So when I communicate with pet parents or, even just a random conversation with anything which is around.
The first conversation that we had was when you spoke to my cat. I remember she was not doing well. And that's how I came across your page. I read your bio and super interesting. And I was like, okay, can he really talk to my cat and tell me what's going wrong? Because even the doctors couldn't tell us much at that point. And I remember you telling me things which were very only the family members knew.
Right.
Like that was only between the pet and us, like the pet owners. And like when we would give her food, how she would feel, who was feeding her. And you gave us information and I was like, okay, when you told us the kind of insights you gave us, we were zapped. I mean, it was amazing. It was on point.
Thank you so much. So for that, I would thank your cat more because she was very precise in giving the informations. Because see, when we do communication, we are just a medium. So I'm not, I never like to take it on me that, okay, this is a wonderful conversation that have happened, because it's a pet who decides what he has to communicate, what he feels, how a human is dealing with him or her, how is he being kept at home in a way, and what he wants, what he doesn't want. So all this information is what they see, they perceive, and of course they do listen, they observe. Even the conversation that we are doing at a home, they understand what you're talking about, which topic it is happening, and is it about being at home, is it to do with the environment around us, is it to be with going outside somewhere. As simple as most of us, we would have observed that when we are taking our cat to a vet, they would just know you're taking them to a vet, then
Yeah.
they will start behaving in a certain way. I've seen a difference between a dog and a cat and a communication, that cats in all possibility will run away the moment there are talks of taking them to a vet.
Yes.
There are examples where pet parents come and say that my pet ran away, and when I communicate with pet, they said that they were planning to take me to a vet, and I'm not so used to it, and I don't want to be there. Whereas dog would show a strong resistance of going there, and then they would not prefer being in that spectrum. So the cats and dogs, they have their own way of communicating, but they do are aware of what event and what activity you're going to do with them. So,
Wow.
yeah.
बट यू नो सो मैंने आपके साथ जब वो कॉल किया आई वॉज लाइक कि हाँ ठीक है मतलब यू टोल्ड अस इन्फॉर्मेशन वो अप्लाई भी किया आई सॉ अ लॉट ऑफ चेंज इन हेजूस बिहेवियर माई कैट हेजूस माई कैट so I saw a lot of change in her behavior and everything. I went by whatever you said, but somewhere my mind still has questions about, does this really happen? How is the cat actually, or the pet actually, communicating with you somewhere or the other?
If we go by the structured approach, there are specific way one can communicate, right? So like uh, we as a human, whenever we see something, let's say when we touch a surface, we will sense certain emotions and we'll get to know if it is hot or warm. So now, since we are so used to a physical touch and believing what we see physically, that's why we are not able to believe it totally that the communication is taking place with me. You have a pet and you will, and especially females, they've got this motherly instincts, and you guys would just know how your pet is feeling. So even in the family where I've seen, there are pet parents out of which one is not too keen on having a pet, but she's a mother. She would just know waking up middle in the night that my pet wants food, and that is not a communication. We may think it is not a communication taking place, but some way your pet is communicating with you. You're just feeling it intuitively.
मतलब it's not just verbal.
It's not just verbal. Any extreme emotions, even like I'll take you an example of humans only. Extreme emotions that we feel, may it be extreme fear, we'll feel something in the stomach. May it be extreme joy, we'll have butterflies. When we are, under guilt, we'll also feel something, and we'll see that our solar plexus or manipura gets affected in certain ways. Now, that's where the vagus nerve is. So vagus nerve is like a structure of a brain up, and then there is it's a structure which goes from your spine and it connects to your and the manipura. There's this entire network of vagus nerve, and through that vagus nerve, entire information and communication goes on. So whenever you see a pet or a plant, or any tree for that matter, if you just try to connect with them, you will feel certain sensations, you will feel certain emotions. And since we are for now more prone to five senses, and we are kind of bestowed with five senses which we can use, we'll be able to see them, we'll be able to hear them, but what they are saying, or we will feel some sensation, kinesthetical sensations in our body. Like, let's say if you just see a random dog on the street and you feel it's not well, he's not well, you may just ask him why is he not well, and you will feel certain sensation in your body, and you will get to know that in which exact part of body of that dog he is feeling that suffering. So the communication would not necessarily happen through a barking or through any verbal sounds, but it would even happen either through looking at certain things, feeling some things, or just feeling kinesthetically across your body.
Whenever you're communicating with a pet, it's more to do with, you feel their emotions.
Yes, that's one. What I've observed is those who are in whichever senses of them are more powerful, that's what they pick up. So in my case, generally I hear the conversations. So if I just connect with them, I'll just feel it's not a language, right? So I may be speaking to him in Marathi, Hindi, Gujarati, in whichever language. They are just understanding everything and they are communicating, and it's just a language translation which happens in certain ways.
So you can actually hear
And
the
you can-
pet talking to you.
You can just hear them in your own words that this is what this cat or a dog is saying. And even the tonality matters, right? So sometimes, especially when we speak to animals in wild, even cats for that matter, because cat also belong to a tiger family, or vice versa, tiger belong to a cat family. Their tonality will be at times harsh. Harsh in the sense that because they are animals in wild, they would not be as soft and as gentle as a dog would be, for that matter. So we may feel we are hallucinating, but this is how it actually works. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, such a blessing. I mean, for you to, do you feel like you're gifted? Like you can actually do something like this?
I never knew I could do it like this. So by profession, I'm so left brain. I'm more of a a techie working in tech firms, and then these are my passion which I follow. So this is more like when I went for the first when I experienced communication for the first time. It was like, okay, this is something. And since I follow certain spiritual practices, so we do become energy sensitive, and we will experience there are certain communication which happens even between humans. And when it started happening to me for the first time, I thought this is maybe common because we are in the meditative space. But then I got to know that there are uh, workshops, and there are those actual communications which takes place. And I started then communicating with the plants and animals around me. I was validating it for fun to my friends and to my circle, but then it used to be quite accurate. So then I'm like, let me kind of develop this. And my idea is more than just a pet, which is good to have at home, is to work with the larger ecosystem where we are staying in the environment. We are, I always feel like this, that us as a human, we are by default a nature lover. All of us, if whenever you come across anyone, you ask them, I'm like, they will say that I'm a nature lover. We like to have that piece of nature around us. The problem is, rather than being inclusive, we have started becoming having a piece, like we want everything for ourselves, of a private property, a private garden, and thus a private personal bird or a pet for me. But essentially, that is our very core of us, where we want to be around pets, we want to be around nature, maybe plants, trees, or anything. And from there, the entire idea of communication takes place. So the communication is very seamless. Like you will see that when somebody is not keeping a good mood at home, the plants will die, or even the pets will behave in an unusual way when there are a lot of commotions and chaos at the home. So these are always two-way communication which takes place between you and your pet would also tell you so many things. If you pay a finer attention to it, you will get to know more about it.
Anybody who has a pet at this point, if they can actually reach out to an animal communicator or an animal whisperer and get to know what their pet is actually going through, does it improve their relationship with their pet at some level?
Absolutely. So what we say is it's a pet who chooses the human. It's an animal or a plant who chooses a human, and their coming in life is always for the purpose. Now, in the Western world, that is known as soul contracting. Soul contracting is special, like in our culture, we call it as a Runanubandh. Runanubandh means wherever we have any karmic debt with someone, that person or that being comes in our life. We stay, and that person or that being stays with us for a certain period of time. And then when the role is over, they move. So even the pet comes in our life with the soul contracts. Now, this soul contract can be of receiving, where they would just receive a lot of love from us, they would receive the care from us. Sometimes there are pets who are not keeping well and they are being rescued, and then even in the childhood time, somebody find a injured bird and just bring them home, and then they will rescue them. All through the life they will do their seva in a way, and in return they will get a joy of having a nice cute bird at the place. But in soul contract, in this case, is of receiving, which means that a pet would receive things from humans. For example, a pet would have been totally fine by then, but a human in the house, let's say, is not keeping well. There are some of the different scenarios where the complaint will be that my pet is ill, and I was shown to a vet, and what vet is not able to figure out. And when we speak to a pet will say that it is not just my own disease. I'm picking it from someone, from the human. And see, limpings and a few common things which they really pick up very fast is any spikes in blood pressure or sugar levels.
So the pets can actually absorb the illnesses of the pet owners somewhere or the other?
Yes, so that's how they are supposed to be in the soul contract with humans, and they would just absorb it from owners, and they absorb it so that they can ground it. See, us humans, we don't ground ourselves that much, whereas a pet would ground itself way better, because you'll just see a pet who just stretch itself quite and again, or any dog or so, you take them out on the field, they would try to dig in the soil, and then they would try to have a mud bath or a soil bath, and then they would go to the water. In so many ways, they know how to ground themselves. Even we feel so good about it when we are under the cold shower and we just let our emotion pass and we'll be coming out fresh. So grounding that pets do, humans can't. And pets, because they're very conscious and sensitive, they would just pick up what is that human carrying, and from there they would try to ground it and bring it back. So bring back the balance of humans per se. So that's a receiving contract. Now sometimes there are contracts of giving. For example, those who have a pet, uh, they've observed in some point of the time in their life that the moment pet entered, someone passed away. Now they may feel that why is there any reason behind this transition? Whereas when we speak to a pet, pet says that I am here to be a giver. So the void that has been created by someone's loss is what being filled by the pet, for that matter. Sometimes it go otherwise as well. That pet do sense that there is a transition going to take place in the
Yeah, I
family.
was just going to ask, in a lot of cases, like the pets actually intuitively know if someone is going to die in the family.
Right.
And they start acting differently 2-3 days before only, something is going to happen.
There's this pet called Jacko, which I had conversed with, was based out of Uttarakhand somewhere, and he had run away. And he has been staying in a big farm, a good, healthy German Shepherd, whereas a guard dog generally doesn't tend to run away so much. So when I communicated with him, he said that I see a transition in the house, and that's why I'm going. I'll be back in about a week's time. And apparently he was back, and there was a transition of a other dog in the family. So that way, not just that, sometimes, so when they feel that there is going to be immense energies, intense energies at the home, which is somehow harming the humans, they do take on them. See, life and death is not a human's choice or a pet's choice, it is always destined. But in order to absorb it, sometimes they do take it extra and harm themselves. However, they try to ground it. So I'll give an example. There were these two dogs in one of the other family, where one passed away in a very tender age of 4 years. So when I communicated with that dog, she said that just take care of my elder one as well, because she is also in the process. Now I couldn't say that to a family, of course. So I told them just wait for the other one. And unfortunately, within 2 months' time, the other one also made a transit. Now the first one did not say about why this happened. But when I spoke to the second ones, she showed that there is something which father is going through extreme in their health aspect, and that's why she is taking that up. The person who had called me said that his father is the only person who stays in that farmhouse. Rest of them are staying in the city, so it is very likely. And after 2 months, when this passed away, I just wanted to check if now this intense peak time which was there, is it still there or is it gone? Because it would have then impacted her father. Because on a practical basis, I told that female to check her father's health, get the checkup done. But I also wanted to see to what extent the energy. So in this case, the plant comes very handy. Um, of course, not a good practice to make any life die for a human's interest. But since I wanted to understand, it was more of a part of a curious experiment which I wanted to do. So I asked that person that keep 2 or 3 tulsi plants in the same place where your pet used to sleep, and see what is happening. If it survives beyond a certain point of time, you'll be fine. If not, then you need to see if you keep taking continuous care of your father. Luckily, out of 3, 1 died, 2 stayed okay, and the intensity started going down, and now things are totally fine.
Why did you go for a tulsi plant specifically?
See, tulsi in a way I feel is very sensitive, the most sensitive plant that we have, especially in our system, Indian scenario.
Yeah, like tulsi is considered a very sacred plant. So does it have like a spiritual meaning to it?
Yeah, so it's sacred, it's energy sensitive, it is used for a lot of Ayurvedic purposes. It absorbs, it creates a lot of fresh air compared to others, as I've learned. So that's why Tulsi ji is considered to be the most receptive in terms of any energies which are not conducive at home. And that's why they say that if anything happens to Tulsi plant, just check yourself, purify yourself, make this place consecrated in certain way, so that any upcoming issues jo aane wale hai, you get saved from there. Yeah.
So kahin na kahin to like tulsi can act like an indicator of what your house environment is.
Absolutely. It's like a guard who would guard your place and will just tell you if any unknowing things are going to happen.
Yeah, like तो पहले वो system था ना कि in the veranda they would have a tulsi plant. Like the olden houses in
Correct.
India would definitely have a tulsi plant.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then you would do a puja also around it.
Right.
So
Yeah. So the puja, in a way, of course, is to worship the plant because it has a connection with Lakshmi ji as well. But more than that, in my communication experience, what I've experienced, what I've observed is Tulsi ji comes having the interaction with plants in a day-to-day basis will help you also balance yourself. And also a plant would have a certain notion and memory of yours, which will act up as a protective force around you.
Okay, so before we get into plants, also when we were talking about animals, I wanted to ask you that in what situations can a pet owner actually reach out to a communicator? So that if the viewers have pets,
Hmm.
and in what kind of situations can they reach out to you to help their pets?
Okay. So it could be anything, right? So let's say if you're just thinking ki what my pet is thinking about me, does he have any special role for me in my life or in my family members? If you think that he's picking someone's illness, if you think that he's picking someone's emotions like loneliness, grief, anger, whatnot, and you feel that that's the reason, and you might have taken him to a trainer and he's not yet responding, there will be some signs through which he'll be talking to you which we may not understand. So that's where they can reach out. Or if they are not getting better over the period of time, you're trying all your ways and still they're not getting better, then you can reach out to a communicator and ask what is the reason for it. Extreme cases, you can also reach out to a communicator where you want to know certain events in your house, which you cannot you can experience but you cannot fathom out why. But a pet's intuition or a plant's intuition for that matter would tell you why certain events are taking place.
Wow. Okay. And do you think like people should have any specific kind of pet that you would recommend? Like people should have cats or dogs, or which is more good to sort of have in your house?
Well, not really. So at times I've seen a pet in the house. If a pet parent say that I want to have another pet in a life, which one should I have? That time a pet would say, we should have a cat or a bird or a pet from the same family, male, female. Is some information they give. Sometimes I feel it's more to do with the human persona. What human wants, what is the kind of persona that you have. For example, the one if you're someone who needs more of a warmth, more of a love, you need more cuddling, then one should go for a dog, which is very often common because dog would be coming to you with that much of love and devotion and faith. If you're someone who wants to have your own space and want to have a companion around but not having too much nudge, then you can go for a cat. If you're looking for a motherly love, then you can go for the small Jersey cows. There's a name to it, I forgot. And people do have parrots or the birds and the animals birds and the turtles, reptiles at home. In India, especially under the Wildlife Protection Act, birds and turtles are not allowed. So I don't encourage that. But if you have rescued one and if you're just nurturing them, then it's good. But eventually, in my experience, I've seen they do fly away because their nature is to fly and be in the open. So you can have them, but then you have to be ready with the idea that they may not be there with you. One more thing, as you had asked, who for which other reason you can reach out to communicator is if your pet is lost, or secondly, if your pet is no more, unfortunately. So especially when the pet is lost, it's a very interesting subject to me. I do work on it, uh, taking an interest, but the success rate there, I still feel it's not more than 50-50 because of a lot of dynamic reasons, right? First of all, we need to understand with the pet why the pet has come in your life. Till what time the pet has soul contract. Sometimes they will just leave because they feel my soul contract is over and they may want to be with some other pet parent or some other humans for that matter.
So if your karmic debt is over with that pet, it will just leave you at that point.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Or sometimes they will be in your life and they say that there is a lot of change in environment or a lot of commotion, chaos in the house, and I'm not liking it, that's why I'm going. Communicator's role is just to pass the information as to, I become just a hollow conduit to pass information as to what he is feeling, is he safe or not, is he well fed or not. But bringing them back, when will they be back, is all a part of a lot of dynamics which plays in.
Got it.
Yeah.
But what a beautiful feeling. What a satisfying feeling when the pet owner and the pet actually again meet.
Absolutely.
And when they are also anxious.
I'll just tell one more example of lost animal. A very interesting case which happened in terms of lost cat. So there's this cat who got lost in the family. Now she's the only lady who is taking care of a cat, and she's about 25 cats at a place. This specific cat, Shadow, Shadow, she ran away and she did not come. So I asked her, why did you run away? She said, just that I got scared, and first of all, I was brought to a new place. Now this place is more like a bungalow, and I don't understand where this place is. The structure is not too conducive for me. There are so many other cats, and the place is so small. And I run away for the reason that I was lost. first of all, I was just exploring the place, and in that chakkar I got lost. And अभी मुझे वापस कैसे आना समझ नहीं आ रहा है. And there is this big cat which I'm afraid of, for which I'm not able to come. And she had shown all the right locations. So she showed a parking space जहाँ पे नीचे है. Then she showed a house where नीचे slope जाता है, वहाँ पे gate है, gate पे security खड़ा है. Security वाले को भी पता है, उसने मुझे spot किया है. Then she showed another place which is like ऐसे बिल्डिंग की दीवारों की साइड में जो slits होते हैं वहाँ पे.
So they can actually like show you images. You see
show-
that
See, that's another part of,
intuitively.
so pets do pass on the images. So that's another way of communication through vision. So you will see what they see.
Okay.
But this fellow did not come for good 7, 8, 9 days. And every day I was communicating with her, or him rather. And pet parent was getting very anxious. And then she's like, I'm going to stop now. I'm like, that's the best thing. The moment you will stop it, you will see there is some movement. And just take that gray cat out, because she mentioned there is a gray cat which is being like a guy, and he's like, rest of all my cats are female, so he's being around in the area, and he's a stray jungle cat. He was taken out, and then continuously I was communicating with Shadow, saying that Shadow, you do please come now. There is a open path for you, no threats. And just the day before, Shadow showed me a place which is like दीवार के बीच में वो जो pipelines होते हैं, like ऐसी कोई जगह पे छुपा हुआ है. And that's how it was like that place from which he was found. So it is like this. He was lost. He wanted to be back, but he was so afraid that he was showing around the same place, but he was not able to come out. It was just a 50, 100 meter space. तो भी नहीं आ रहा था. So it is very interesting world where they would be around, but they would not show up, or they are way too far. Okay, one more case I can still mention. This is some Gujarati actress. She had her dog who went again. He got lost, and when I communicated, the dog showed that he's 200 kilometers away approximately. Generally, it is 1, 2, 4, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers max. This one is showing 200 kilometers.
Exactly.
I'm like, this is too much. And then I asked her कि showing 200 kilometers तुम कहाँ ढूंढोगे. So she said that no, he was around only कुछ street. I had taken her for a walk. Fight हो गई. He left. And then I asked him कि chronology बता कि 200 किलोमीटर तो travel खुद से तो नहीं कर सकता. So then he said, showed me construction site, and then I asked him ki, now what's the reference? Then he gave me a hint of a police station. Well, when I asked them to check with the cops, she said, I've already checked. And so I just asked her to give a number, which is she already done. And then there are techniques through which I asked her to communicate with dog so that somebody will reach out in a way. So dog was continuously showing that he is totally fine. He's in a very sweet, loving family. He's not been kidnapped, because it so happened that first thought will come is कि 200 kilometer दूर kidnap करके लेके गए, would be used for breeding or whatnot purpose.
Yeah.
Whereas the dog maintained that he's not kidnapped and he's in a very nice person's house. I'll be there for some time and I'll be back. So cut to that, few days later, she found out that a labor construction worker working in that same site had taken him to Himmatnagar. They were in Ahmedabad. They taken to Himmatnagar because he waited for someone, but nobody came, and he's like, "Kabhi iska koi nahi hoga, मैं उसको घर पे रखता हूँ." And he had a house where he was keeping him. He had a daughter who was keeping him so well. So that's the wonderful bond pet would have. And best thing is, even if you're taken 200 kilometers away, a pet would just sense what sort of person you are. Are you in the right place or not? Are you? And then they would tell in the communication if they are suffering or if they are happy. At times, the pet parents, there are so many issues at home. So some lost animals where they've run away for long, they don't want to come back because they say that घर पे बहुत झगड़े होते हैं, घर पे बहुत बड़ी आवाज़ में बातें होती है, और बहुत ज़्यादा cats को घर पे लेके आओ. Now I cannot say, and I need to go away. And that's how the lost animal cases work. So animals would just know with what kind of person you are.
It's interesting. I mean, they actually absorb whatever, like, I think the house environment affects them on such a large scale.
Absolutely.
We don't realize,
Yeah.
but they are continuously absorbing whatever fights. I think they're observing every emotion that you go through. Whenever your pet is lost or they sort of leave you or something like this happens,
Yeah.
it has a deeper meaning to it. Somewhere
a
or
lot of reflections.
reflections, yeah. And very beautiful thing that you also said, that pets usually mirror their pet owners
Yes.
in a lot of ways. So
Absolutely.
if they start mirroring, it could be what the pet owner wants to really do, they start doing
True.
instead.
Yes.
As you said, like the son wanted to go away, so the pet ran away from
Son.
the house somewhere or the
Yeah.
other. You also said that you can talk to pets who have passed away.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that case, what kind of, how can this help somewhere or the other?
See, most importantly, it helps you in getting the closure. So many of times we feel that I'm the reason for the death of my animal because I was not around, or I was busy, or I was not. Maybe the vet I choose was not right. Whereas pet, when we communicate with them, they will just say it was my role till this year. My time was over. It was a natural death. You became just a limit or a medium, and this happened, and it helped human to get a closure. So this could be, for example, this is another case where a human was feeling that I'm the a son, 9-year-old son was feeling I'm the culprit for the killing of the sparrow which I had. So they had a small sparrow in the house
Okay.
which they had rescued, and it was brought into a family. Now they were taking care of it and became a part of a family because since been 2 years they were nurturing her. Now one fine day he was going to washroom and he was going to shut the door. Sparrow just flew across and it came between the doors and passed away. Now, when I communicated with the sparrow, sparrow said that, see, first of all, it was a very natural thing for me. When somebody is going and coming is not in your hand or my hand, it is destiny. And I've passed away. It's not because I've taken someone of any of your illness or any of your negative aspect of your life. You don't need to feel guilty about it because it has helped me in my sadgati. And then I'm like, but you still give some validation to this guy, which will make him feel कि नहीं ये उसके कसूर नहीं है. And Sparrow ने कहा कि it is because just tell him कि it's not the first time there is a death like this has happened in the family. So the house that you have, it is it is highly energetic, and the energies get attracted here and they find their way through. So they said that yeah, there was one another bird which was there like long back, and it also came like that. Its feather came in the fan, and it passed away. It may look like an accident for us, but and it's not like that they were kind of nurturing them or they were giving food and the sparrow bulbul had come like for that case. So these things are very much destined, and they find their sadgati through that at times because the place which they were staying in was a very powerful place. They had a lot of spiritual practices they were doing, and any jeev coming to us might be looking for something which we may not know, and that's the soul contract again. So it's not like we are calling them; they come by themselves and they go.
Yeah,
Just
because
like that.
yeah, because most of the times we think that we have gone and got the dog or we have gone and got the
Right.
cat, but actually they choose us, and then their life path just happens through us in certain ways. So even their death or whatever, once their role is done, they sort of pass. Now that I'm sure like so many viewers who are watching this, they would have pets. Can you tell me one thing that pet owners should absolutely not do so that their pet stays healthy?
Okay. Um, in terms of behavior, one should avoid speaking loud, fighting at home, at least in front of a pet, because they pick up and at times they get so nervous, so anxious, and then they start having diseases because of that.
Okay.
So one that should be avoided. Either they would pick diseases or they would be the frightened when they would shake. You will see some pets out shaking for this reason. One of the pet who had shaken once like that is like, and he showed me a shoes when I communicated, and the shoes. Then I asked her that, "तुमसे बाबा पुलिस में है क्या?" And said, yeah. And imagine the wrath, the anger coming from there, right? Because they work in such field. So don't be so loud, don't be aggressive, especially. And mostly in Indian culture, we are seeing ऐसे जैसे हम बच्चों को कभी कभी बोलते हैं ऐसे चिल्ला के कि अरे सुनना, तू क्यों नहीं सुन रहा, मैं तुझे कितना बोल रहा हूँ. And that's what they do with the pet. But that pet absorbs. And at times, the reverse effect of it, they may get aggressive. They may start barking a lot. So, this specific case where cat was a dog was there, he used to bark a lot, and I'm like, he's like कि मैं इसलिए बार करता हूँ क्योंकि घर वाले इसी भाषा में बात करते हैं, मुझे लगता है कि ऐसे ही बात कर सकता. So it's not good. So we have to be as gentle as
So
benign.
so one rule is like जैसे आप kids बच्चों के सामने भी take care.
Right.
So treat your pets also like your kids.
Absolutely.
And make sure you don't talk loudly, don't talk harsh words,
True.
don't give them that negative energy that will keep them,
Right.
healthy and out of stress somewhere or the other.
Correct.
Okay. When we talk about our plants in the house,
Hmm.
so you said that even plants communicate. And do plants also choose which house they want to be in?
Yes. So once they're in the house, they know that what is happening in their home.
Okay.
Who is what, who is feeding them, who is feeding them. So I myself have observed when I am at home and my dad is not at home. My dad waters entire plants in my house. So if I'm not at home, sorry, if dad is not at home, if even if I water him every day, they would not respond the way it would with him, because they know, they just pick the scent, they have the images, and they would know who is coming and feeding him. So that makes a lot of difference at who is taking care of them. So they have that awareness. Plants do reckon with other plants. They have a friendship, they have a communications. And I speak about this when I come to tree, that the kind of tree camaraderies that we see is beyond our logical mind. So rather than having them as a beautification object, which is good, try to treat them as a life, and you will feel much more connected, and they will feel and very well bonded with you, and they will blossom in way better way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And जब plants like they start drying up in the house, like कोई specific plant है या फिर in general garden blossom नहीं कर रहा है, उसका भी कुछ specific reason है?
So first we have to check what is the reason. It could be as simple as they're not kept in the right direction, or as we mentioned, they are mixed with other plants, or the soil is not right, the sunlight is not there.
Of course, those are the basic things, yeah.
But in the communication, they do tell. Like there's this farm which I had spoken to, said that farm is more into bouquet ke piche ka jo, you have bouquet ke piche ka green
The planters.
planters.
हाँ.
Right? So it said that it's not getting, I mean, that's not fruiting. It used to come. And the reason they said that, there is a lot of chemicals that he has already used, because of which it is not blooming in. So when I connected so the plant farm owner rather, शेतकरी, he said that की हो मी खूपच वेगवेगळे युनिव्हर्सिटीकडे जाऊन खाय वेगवेगळे खाद घेऊन आलोय, and that's why it is not doing well. So they may tell कि okay बंद करो, normal cow dung जीवामृत जो हम रखते हैं वो लगाओ, and I'll start blossoming. So it could be like that, and then it could have a very subtler meaning as well,
Got it.
which could be somebody's illness has been taken, or there is no chatter in the house, or there is no life in the house. The house has become like a dead place, and plants will say for whom we will blossom. So
So does like our relationship issues and fights also have an impact on the plant?
absolutely, they're sensitive, they just pick it up.
Okay, wow.
Right.
And yeah, you were talking about tree kamaradi. So
Yeah.
what is exactly that? Yeah.
Okay, so what if I tell you, right, that a tree do speak, they have emotions, they experience pain, they also have friends, and they do take care of their child. Uh, so these things, first notion पे तो we will just let this go, saying that ये कोई logic नहीं है. Apparently इसके ऊपर there's this wonderful book by Peter Goblin. Peter Woblin is the author. The Secret Life of Trees. So he's a forester. He spends a lot of time in Germany in his forest, and he started observing and seeing that there's a life in the trees. There are certain ways they react, they talk, and trees have a lot of wisdom which we think beyond it. So there are tree friendships. So let's say if two trees, they want to grow together, they will ensure that they have the right exchange of sugar and all the right ingredients or the nutrient which is required from within, and then they would grow accordingly. Or let's say if there is any another tree, so there is a concept of a mother tree, where a mother tree would be the main source of the entire nutrients which has been provided, and children along it will grow in a certain way where a mother tree wants the child to be with, right? So there is a one child which is like growing sporadic. Mother tree will start giving her the nutrients in such a way that it is just picking up only few things. And it will ensure that it grows in a way where two trees, let's say if growing, if they are a friend or they are from the same kin, they would have their branches go in a way where it won't intervene with each other. So they will let each other grow like that. So there's a term called tree communism, where they work in a communist approach. Rather than just being selfish, they like to grow together, especially when our governments, they go for this urban farming or urban tree plantation, where they want to just use tree as a tick wood or for the commercial purpose. The whole essence of having a very natural growth of forest, where the roots will speak to each other, where there will be a lot of communication which will take place. So there are stories, there are scientific evidences of a tree which has survived even after 200, 300 years of its death. So a part of a tree would fall down. It could be just a small, twig which will fall down, and it's like a arm cut from you, right? And it's there on the tree. It's on the bed, um, on the flat surface, but the tree would still survive. And the reason which they got to know that the roots from the fungal uh, setup keep providing and nourishing the tree till the time they think that they can make them survive. So the trees and these plants, they are very much conducive in communication. Communication is not through the sound. Savannah mein, whenever giraffe comes to take eat the leaves would know कि giraffe is coming and now it is going to get affect all the trees around. So वो एक chemical scent करते हैं. It's more like a scent. It's like a scent. It's a fragrance or a bad smell rather, which is toxic in nature. And giraffe would understand, okay, now I'm not supposed to have it, and understand the beauty of the entire forest ecosystem that we have, because the trees have passed on the same information to other trees in that setup. बाकी भी सब leaves वही chemical enzyme छोड़ना शुरू करते हैं. So giraffe would just know he would not be over there. He will walk few hundred meters away, and then he will have a food from other this thing. So that's how the communication take place. We feel it's just that we who understand and feel things, but it just happens beautifully in the entire forest and the tree ecosystem.
Yeah. I mean, that's so beautiful ki the trees actually they have more heightened awareness and sensitivity. I feel like being humans, I think that we feel we can control a lot of things. That's why we are more powerful somewhere or the other. But trees are even more sensitive. So that's why I think there's this Japanese concept of forest bathing, where you actually go and you hug a tree. And I think in certain cases, like they say that it pulls out a lot of your stress,
Help us.
your whatever anxiousness you're feeling. So even if you go for a walk in a forest and you feel good,
True.
or you feel all rejuvenated, that's because it has actually cleansed your aura and taken away so many bad things that you're carrying somewhere or the other.
100%.
So it's so beautiful. I think it's just that we need to start being aware of these, like there's a plant here or you have a pet at home, you need to start getting more aware
True.
of what they are also feeling
Correct.
somewhere or the other.
And their consciousness is so beyond. So I'll just tell you a couple of other examples. One is I was communicating with this tree in somewhere in Kokon area, and the tree said that there is this very powerful things beneath me, which I'm not supposed to be chopped, and these people they are planning to sell this entire plot, but I don't want to get chopped because there are a lot of spiritual things, spiritual hidden treasure which this place has. And the landowner said that I always feel that there is some energy when I sit beneath the tree. They went for the digging and they found something which was extraordinary, which was a stone which was been worshipped for long by their ancestors. So tree would know what is happening in the locality, what is happening around them. Since I work with couple of construction builders where they have the construction projects, ambitious projects, and they buy acres of land, chop trees, and with government they can do away without doing the tree transplantations which they are supposed to do. But the life that have been killed in that process, or the amount of harm that you have done to the nature, they do stay with you. And in the communication, it may come after like 15-20 months that this is what was done long back, and because of which now you are feeling that there are issues at your home. You are feeling a financial crunch. You are feeling your plots or your flats are not getting sold. So it's it's not like a tree, someone who will take a revenge and who will harm you. But it's end of the day, imbalance activities, imbalancing acts which you are doing, which will make this thing happen, and fear you have to bear through it. So trees' wisdom in many ways are very underrated. There's another one. This lady where I stay in Mumbai, in Villeparle, had this bale tree, and that bale tree was there for long. There was this some road extension widening project because of which it was supposed to be cut, and half part of which, it was a huge tree, so half part of which was cut, including the entire twig section of it. Now she was feeling very guilty about it, so she asked me to communicate, and since I relate the most with the trees and the cause base with trees, I communicated with the tree saying that, okay, now there are a lot of leaves that you have. What do you want me to do with it? And, we don't want to just go in the garbage. And they said that there are tribal areas. You just transport us over there and we will see if we can come and bring it to a life, because we would like to take the good acts this place has been doing, because it is a very consecrated space that we have. It was moved to the Keshav Srishti area, and the tribes over there started planting, and now it is a matter of like last 3-4 years. The trees have started coming in like 4-5 quantities or 4-5 numbers.
Oh wow.
So of course it's a life which will grow, but it needs to have a certain environment, a very right place to be in, and they understand the humans' emotions, how they feel, and that's how they want to be treated as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow, but like whatever examples you gave, that's also so true. Like so many, especially people who are into construction, they would do promises or they do these promises that we will plant so many trees. And when they don't do it, then they will go through some kind of crunch, as you said, because they have not fulfilled their promise somewhere or the other.
True.
Because as you said, it's like the cycle, you have to complete it
Correct.
somewhere or the other.
Because you're utilizing nature for your own benefit and you're not giving it back. Nature is all about balancing the activity, acts
Yeah.
that you do, so it will just do it.
So yeah, even when if you're building your bungalow, if you're taking a plot, and if you've chopped down some trees, I think it is our moral responsibility somewhere to
Right.
balance it out or give back.
Correct. See, this is very important thing which you mentioned, because traditionally in our culture, we had this concepts where for any activity that we want to do, we will take a permission. Now, let's say if you're building a factory in a bungalow, a factory or a bungalow or a big enterprise, you will take permission from the divine embodiment of that place, typically known as Grama Devata. So every village would have the deity. Now we are doing something in that village, you will take a permission. Similarly, the areas where you stay, there are Sthana Devatas. So that Sthan ke liye there is a divine embodiment or the spirit of that place, which we respect and we ask them. There were people, adequately known people who knew how to communicate with them, understand what this Gram Devata or a Stan Devata wants. And as we boil down further, in the areas that we stay, or if we have a certain farm or a plot, there are Kshetrapals. Kshetrapals are typically the snakes or those beings who are the owner or who are the preserver of that land,
Yeah.
rather than owner, and they try to keep that place guarded. Coming further down to our own house, we have a Vastu Devata. So in Indian culture, it is so rich that we had a ways to look at it, to nurture it, to give them their due, and then to derive a benefit out of it, but by paying respect and having that exchange. Now, in urban setup, this entire thing is gone. People just want to buy the plot, make their things happen. I'll give you one. I'll just come. This takes me to land telepathy insight to speak to land as well. So this person in based out of Mumbai is one of a rare person who I've come across who so when I was speaking to its land, the land said that this person is doing all the right things, so I don't have any complaints. In fact, the land was such that one side of it was somewhere in Parel. One side of it was a masjid, another side of it was a kabristan, and in between that, and he was building the entire building. And in that, he was like, I just want to ensure that there is no harm coming to me, because people have observed certain things in the kabristan in the night time. Masjid is okay because it is still, it's not a negative place, of course, but kabristan is where I fear. So the place, when I communicated with the place said that this person will not get harmed because he is doing everything on the ethical ground. And he's been also doing a lot of activities to keep this place consecrated or energized, including the nature part of it. And he said that, yes, I do a lot of plantations outside whenever I have to take and uproot plants. I do a lot of tree plantations in some other areas as well. And he also do a lot of puja also at his place. So these things, if we know how to balance, the land would also react to in a way.
Got
But if you are just doing for your selfish interest, there are other cases. Another example which I will give you in Mumbai as well, that they had a property in Dubai, and the Dubai property, the moment they had it, they started feeling a lot of debacles in their life. So they got almost 5 offices in UAE. All of them started having litigations. This property which they were staying in Dubai was being confiscated. It was a rental property. Still, their entire the utensils and the entire furniture was taken by the government. And more than that, it was a mafia, he said, they operated. But when I spoke to the land, the specific house through which I was supposed to take a reference, they showed a lot of ill practices done by these family in order to grow their business. And that is what was coming in taking him to the cause. So even if your place is Vastu compliant, you have taken all the measures to align the energies, you have checked if there is geopathic stress or not, But if your acts have been such which has harmed the ecosystem around you, land will speak of it. You may not get that information through any space, through any Vastu solution, but only land will tell what is to be done. Sometimes land will just come and say that you have to bear with this because this is the karma that you have done all through the while. So it's that.
Okay. So you can get so many insights after you talk to a land, like
Absolutely.
exactly what is going wrong within the family, or it could be any kind of act that is still pending, or is it karmic? Everything can
Right.
be communicated through land somewhere.
Right.
Or
And sometimes land would just want the place to be as open as possible because बाप दादा की इच्छा ऐसी रहती है कि इस जगह को तुम यूटिलाइज मत करना, इस जगह को तुम इसमें यूज द फार्मिंग, यूज द कल्टिवेशन, जस्ट डोंट सेल इट. सो लैंड वुड नो. यू मे फील कि वो बिक नहीं रही है, देयर कुड बी एनी extreme reasons, but there would be as simple as land doesn't want to get sold. And land would also know कि you would like to use it for a commercial purpose or just for as simple as use it for some satsang or some basically spiritual purposes, or as much as nature's take it, or simply for the nature's purpose. So that wisdom a land has.
got it. So any construction company, maybe if they have issues with litigation lands, or any person who's finding it difficult to sell their land,
Absolutely.
so communication with land will actually help them somewhere or the other.
Even the big conglomerates where I worked with, they have acres of land for the biogas productions, and they use certain leaves, certain grass, which is used for biomass. But since those lands have been confiscated, giving wrong hopes and promises to the farmers or to the intermittents, they do feel their loss in their companies as well. So I try to work with them on the acres basis how to make it happen. And whenever I work with them, I ensure that the interest of those who have been, whose advantage has been taken care of.
Got it.
That's what not me I do as a person. It's a land which I ask them to do, and then they can see a stability coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even like as you also mentioned that farmlands.
Right.
So even when farmers face certain issues with their lands, they could also reach out to you because that is where you're actually, trying to cultivate in that land. And if you're facing issues with that, it has so many meanings behind it somewhere or the other. Wow. So do you have any tips that people could follow in their everyday life to sort of cleanse the home energy?
What you need to do is you need to balance the 5 elements that you have in the house. So let's say north is the element, north as a direction is a water element. Now keep those things which are more conducive to water. For example, keep it as empty as possible. Keep water fountains over there if you want. Keep your plants over there if you want. If you have the pet, the best place to keep your pet is in northeast or the northwest. Northwest, they become more social, and northeast, they become more quiet and calmer. So you can rightly find the place where you can keep your things. Similarly, if you're someone who's looking for stability, keep your southwest very heavily loaded with the furnitures. Prefer sleeping in the southwest bedroom because that will increase the earth element. Earth is more stable, so you get stability in your life. And if you're just looking, everything is aligned as per your Vastu principles. Cleansing the place is most important. Cleansing could be either through meditative practices. The most superb desi thing which I always recommend everyone is to take that guy ke gobar ka upla, right? And then burn it with the cow ki, with the camphor. That will do a lot of cleansing. The entire Rahu energy which is there at home, or the stagnancy which comes because of Saturn's effect, all these things, a guy's upla has the energy to do it.
So you can do it every day.
You can do it every day, every evening, or either Thursdays also will do.
So it really helps to cleanse the energy.
Absolutely. And even the chanting of good mantras in the evening, during the sandhyas, basically, that's a big time.
That is a good time. Okay. So I think this was a very, I think everybody can start doing this on everyday life and start cleansing their energies. And I think by the end of this episode, I'm sure everybody knows that everything around us has so much energy and has so much awareness somewhere or the other. Like you have gotten us thrown light about how pets come for a reason, how plants come for a reason, and everything makes sense in the bigger, if you start looking at the bigger picture somewhere or the other. So it was beautiful talking to you. I think I have so many questions more, but I think we should do a part 2 soon. Okay. Do you have any takeaway message for all the viewers? Do you have something to say to all of them?
Well, I'll just say a couple of things. First is telepathy is very intrinsic to us. There is no miraculous aspect involved when I said I do communication with plant, pets, lines, whatever we say. It's very sahaj to us, I will say. So all of you can try with your own plants, place, even pets for that matter. Secondly, just see everything as a life and not everything as our own objects Try to be more inclusive in a way where you can consider this entire ecosystem as a part of you. Every breathe in, breathe out we do, there are exchanges with the environment, and there is always a reciprocation which we tend to ignore. So try paying attention to these things, and you will see that life responds to you in a very beautiful way.
So you communicate with pets. Has a pet ever told you any family secrets?
Okay, so one cat one day came and said that I don't prefer to sleep in the sister's room. There are two sisters who sleep in that room, and that's because they do a lot of gossips and I don't get my sleep. I prefer sleeping in brother's room or my parents' room. And
Okay.
then they said that, yeah, we do a lot of gossips at night.
Okay. That was interesting. I mean, pets can actually tell you all the insider secrets of the family
Percent.
somewhere or the other. Thank you so much, Abhigna. It was amazing.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
So after this episode, अगर आपको doubts है कि ये सच में काम करता है कि नहीं, go ahead and try talking to an animal communicator or a land communicator if you're facing issues in this area of your life. मैंने खुद ने try किया है और मेरा experience mind blowing रहा है. So go ahead and share this episode with friends and family or with people who are pet owners for sure. And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Till then, keep rising and embracing in love. And do not forget, I roar you.